They declared me brain dead. I heard everything. I heard my wife say, "Just pull the plug. He's already gone."
And then my brother, my own brother, let out this quiet laugh and said, "Yeah, it's time." That's the first thing I remember clearly. Not the accident, not the ambulance, not even waking up in that hospital bed. Those words. And the worst part, I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I couldn't even open my eyes properly. But I could hear everything. My name is a deal. I'm 32 years old. Or at least, I was the last time I checked before all of this. Right now, I'm lying in a hospital bed, surrounded by machines that won't stop beeping. There's something shoved down my throat. Every breath feels like it's being forced into me, like I'm not even doing it myself. At first, I thought I was dreaming, because nothing made sense. Voices came and went, some soft, some sharp, some whispering like they didn't want to be heard, others talking like I wasn't even there, like I was already gone. Minimal brain activity, one voice said. Family needs to prepare, another replied. Family. That word hit me harder than anything else, because if they were talking about my family, then that means something had happened to me, something bad. I tried to move my fingers. Nothing. I tried to open my eyes fully. Just darkness. Heavy, suffocating darkness. And then I heard her voice. Soft, controlled, but not emotional. Not the way someone sounds when their husband is lying between life and death. He wouldn't want to live like this, she said. That was my wife. Sarah, we've been married for 4 years. Or at least, we were. Something inside me started screaming. Not out loud. I couldn't do that. But in my head, I'm here. I'm alive. I can hear you. But nothing came out. Not even a twitch. Hours passed. Or maybe minutes. Time didn't make sense anymore. Everything blurred together until one moment. Everything changed. Footsteps. 2 sets. Familiar. Doctor said it's pretty much over. Sarah said quietly. Another voice answered. Male. Calm. Almost relieved. That's honestly for best. My heart, or whatever was left of my awareness, dropped. That voice. That was my brother. Hamza. We grew up together. Same house. Same room for years. I trusted him more than anyone. And now he was standing next to my wife, talking about me like I was already dead. He has no idea what's going on, Sarah added. No awareness? None. Silence. Then Hamza exhaled slowly. Good. Good. He said good. I don't know how to explain what that felt like, because it wasn't just betrayal. It was realization. The kind that creeps in slowly and then hits all at once. Something was wrong. Very wrong. The next few hours or days were filled with small fragments of conversations. Doctors, nurses, machines, footsteps. But I started paying attention to only 2 voices, Sarah and Hamza, because the more they talked, the less they sounded like people who were grieving. Insurance will take a couple weeks, Sarah said one time. Doesn't matter, Hamza replied. We just need confirmation first. Confirmation of what? Of my death? Another time. We have to move fast, Sarah whispered, before anyone questions it. Questions what? My mind was racing, but my body was still completely useless. I felt trapped inside myself, like I was locked in a room with no doors, no windows, just voices echoing around me. And then something shifted. A memory. 3 weeks before the accident, I was sitting in the living room, going through some paperwork on my laptop. Bills, investments, some property documents. Sarah walked in. Still working? She asked. Just finishing something, I said. She walked behind me, leaned over slightly, looking at the screen. You really keep track of everything, huh? Someone has to. She smiled, but it didn't feel warm. Yes, someone has to. At the time, I didn't think much of it. Now, that moment keeps replaying in my head, over and over. Back to the hospital. I started noticing patterns. Sarah visited during the day. Hamza came at night. Sometimes together, sometimes separately. But every time they thought they were alone, their tone changed. One night, Hamza came in alone. I could hear him pull a chair closer to the bed. He sat down. Close. Too close. Man, he said quietly, you really messed this one up, didn't you? No emotion. No sadness. Just annoyance. Like I had inconvenienced him. You always had everything figured out, he continued. House. Money. Business. Perfect life. Pause. And now look at you. I wanted to scream. To grab him. To ask him what the hell he was talking about. But I couldn't even move a finger. Then he said something that made everything colder. You know she was never happy with you, right? My chest tightened. What? She stayed because it made sense. But, yeah, not exactly love. I felt something break inside me. Not physically. Something deeper. Footsteps interrupted him. Sarah walked in. Anyone see you? She asked. No, good. They didn't greet each other like normal people. No affection. No hesitation. Just straight to business. We don't have much time, Sarah said. I know. The doctor wants to wait another 48 hours. That's too long. I know. Silence. Then Sarah said it. Clear. Cold. We need to convince them to pull the plug sooner. Everything inside me froze. Hamza hesitated for a second. Are you sure? Yes, she said instantly. The longer we wait, the more chances something goes wrong. Something goes wrong? Like me waking up? What about his parents? Hamza asked. I'll handle them. And the paperwork? Already in progress. Paperwork. Insurance. Timing. Pulling the plug early. This wasn't grief. This was planning. I don't know how long I stayed like that after they left. Just thinking. Trying to connect everything. The accident. The conversations. The money. The accident. I forced myself to remember. And slowly, pieces came back. It was raining that night. I remember that clearly. I was driving back home. Late. The road was almost empty. Then headlights. Too bright. Too close. And then nothing. At the time, it felt like a random crash. But now, with everything I had heard, it didn't feel random anymore. Back in the hospital. The next morning, a nurse came in. Different voice. Soft. Careful. She checked the machines, adjusted something near my arm. And then she paused. Wait, she whispered. I felt something. A tiny flicker. My finger. It moved. Just slightly. But it moved. My heart, or whatever I could feel of it, started racing. I tried again. Nothing. Hello? The nurse said quietly. Can you hear me? Yes. Yes, I can. I screamed it in my head. But nothing happened. Footsteps. Sarah, what's going on? She asked sharply. The nurse hesitated. I thought I saw. You thought wrong. Sarah cut her off. Her tone changed instantly. Cold. Controlled. I'll note it down. The nurse said uncertainly. No need, Sarah replied. Doctor already confirmed everything. Silence. Tension. The nurse left. Sarah stayed. She walked closer to the bed, closer to me, and then she leaned in, so close I could almost feel her breath. You should have just stayed out of things, she whispered. My entire mind went blank. What? Hamza's voice came from the door. He had walked in. Sarah straightened up. Nothing, she said. Then quieter, we need to finish this. Finish this. Hamza stepped closer. And if something goes wrong, it won't. And if he wakes up, pause. A long one. Then Sarah said something that I will never forget for the rest of my life. He won't. Silence filled the room. Heavy, final. And then Hamza said it. The sentence that confirmed everything. Then let's end it tomorrow. Tomorrow. My mind exploded. Tomorrow? They were going to kill me tomorrow? I tried everything. Move. Scream. Blink. Anything. Nothing worked. I was trapped. Fully aware. Listening to my own death being scheduled. And the worst part? They believed I had no idea. But they were wrong. I heard everything. And somehow, I had to survive long enough to prove it. The first thing I felt was time running out. Not in a dramatic way. Not like in movies where there's a countdown clock or alarms going off. It was quieter than that. Heavier. Tomorrow. That word just kept repeating in my head. They were going to end my life tomorrow. And I was still lying there, trapped inside my own body, unable to even blink properly on command. That night felt longer than anything I've ever experienced. Every second stretched. Every sound felt louder. Every breath felt forced artificial, like it didn't belong to me. I stopped trying to move for a while, because every failed attempt just made the panic worse. Instead, I focused on listening, because that was the only thing I still had control over. Around what I think was midnight, the room got quieter. Fewer footsteps, fewer voices, just the machines and the occasional distant echo of hospital activity. And then the door opened, soft, careful, not like a nurse, not like a doctor. Hamza, I could recognize the way he walked now. Slow, confident, like he had nothing to worry about. He pulled the chair again. Same spot, same distance. For a few seconds, he didn't say anything, just sat there, breathing, thinking. Then he spoke. You always had to be the smart one. His voice wasn't angry. It was bitter. Everyone trusted you. Everyone listened to you. Pause. And me? A quiet chuckle. I was just there. I didn't understand what he was doing. Was he talking to me? Confessing? Or just venting? You think I didn't notice? He continued. The way people looked at you, like you had it all figured out. His tone shifted slightly. Colder. And now all of that's mine. Something inside me snapped. Not physically. Emotionally. Mine? What exactly was his now? He leaned closer. I could feel it. Not physically, but in the way his voice got sharper. The house, the accounts, everything you worked for. A pause. And Sarah, that word hit different. She chose right in the end. My entire mind went silent for a second, like everything just stopped. What did he just say? Before I could even process it, footsteps echoed again. Sarah, you shouldn't be here this long, she said quietly. I'm just making sure everything's fine, Hamza replied. She didn't argue. Instead, she walked closer. Dr. Sign-Off, she said. Tomorrow morning. Morning, not just tomorrow. Morning. That was even worse. That meant hours. Not a full day, just a few hours. Good, Hamza said. Less waiting. Sarah sighed, but not like someone grieving. More like someone tired of a task dragging on. We need to be careful, she added. No mistakes. I know. And after this, we don't talk about it again. That line felt rehearsed. Planned. Hamza let out a quiet breath. Yeah, clean. Clean. Like I was just something to erase. They stood there for a moment, silent. And then Sarah said something that made everything clearer than ever. The documents are ready. Documents? Again. What about his parents? Hamza asked. I told them the doctors aren't hopeful, she said. They'll agree when the time comes. Agree? Agree to what? Pulling the plug? They trust you, Hamza said. I know. That, I know, wasn't comforting. It was calculated. They weren't just planning my death. They were managing it, controlling every piece of it. And then, the final confirmation. By tomorrow evening, Sarah said quietly, everything will be done. Everything. I felt something rise inside me. Not panic this time. Something else. Something sharper. Anger. Not the kind that explodes. The kind that builds slowly, quietly, until it becomes something dangerous. Because now I knew this wasn't confusion. This wasn't misunderstanding. They were doing this on purpose. The door closed. They left. And I was alone again. But something had changed. I wasn't just scared anymore. I was thinking. If I could hear them, if I was aware, then that meant one thing. I wasn't brain dead. The doctors were wrong. Or they were being misled. Either way, there was still a chance. A small one, but real. I focused on my body again. Not aggressively this time. Carefully. Finger. Nothing. Hand. Nothing. Eyes. A flicker. It was faint. Barely noticeable. But I felt it. I tried again. Slow. Focused. Another flicker. That was enough. I wasn't completely gone. That meant I could fight. I just needed time. Time I didn't have. Hours passed. Or at least, I think they did. Then, footsteps again. The nurse. The same one from before. Her voice was softer than the others. Less rushed. More present. She checked the machines again. Paused. I knew it, she whispered. My mind locked onto her voice instantly. She leaned closer. If you can hear me, try to move again. I focused everything. Everything I had left. Finger. Nothing. Again. Nothing. Frustration hit hard. I tried one more time. A tiny twitch. Barely anything. But it was there. She inhaled sharply. Oh my God, Hope. That word didn't even feel real anymore. But for the first time since it started, I felt it. Footsteps. Fast. Sarah, what's happening? She asked. The nurse hesitated. I think No. Sarah cut her off immediately. Her tone changed again. That same cold edge. You're mistaken. I saw movement, the nurse insisted. He's been like this for days, Sarah replied. There's no response. Tension filled the room. The nurse didn't back down completely, but she didn't push harder either. I'll inform the doctor, she said. No need, Sarah replied quickly. They already ran all the tests. Silence. The nurse left, and just like that, Hope disappeared again. Sarah didn't move immediately. She stayed there, quiet. Then she stepped closer, closer than before, and she spoke. Low, controlled. You need to stop that. My entire mind froze. Stop what? You're making this harder than it needs to be. Harder? For who? For me? That sentence hit harder than anything else. Not sadness, not fear, just inconvenience. I wasn't her husband anymore. I was a problem. Footsteps again. Hamza. What happened? He asked. Nurse thinks she saw movement. Silence. Then Hamza said quietly, That's not good. No panic. No shock. Just calculation. It doesn't change anything, Sarah replied. We go ahead. Go ahead. Even after knowing I might be conscious. They didn't hesitate. Are you sure? Hamza asked. Yes. What if? There's no what if, she snapped. Silence again. Heavy. Then she lowered her voice. We've come too far. That line meant everything. This wasn't something they just decided recently. This had been building, planning, maybe even before the accident. The accident. That thought came back stronger this time. What if it wasn't random? What if? No, I didn't have proof. But the idea was there now, and it wouldn't go away. Hamza exhaled slowly. All right, he said. Tomorrow morning. Morning. That word again. Final. They left, and I was alone. But this time, I wasn't just listening. I was remembering. Every word, every detail, every sentence. Because if I got out of this, I wasn't just going to survive. I was going to expose them. All of it. The lies, the plan, the betrayal. But first, I had to make it through the morning. And right now, that felt impossible. The morning didn't feel like morning. There was no sunlight in my mind. No sense of time passing normally anymore. Just waiting. Waiting for the moment they said would end me. The room was louder than usual. Footsteps everywhere. Machines beeping faster. Voices sharper. Like something important was about to happen. I couldn't move properly yet. My fingers still only responded in tiny flickers. But something had changed overnight. I wasn't just listening anymore. I was holding on to everything. Every sentence. Every plan. Every confession. And then I heard it. Sarah's voice. Close to the door. Doctor is ready. Silence. Then Hamza. Let's do it. My entire body went cold. Not physically. Mentally. Because I knew what that meant. This was it. The door opened. Multiple footsteps entered. Doctor. Nurse. Sarah. Hamza. Vitals are stable but unchanged, the doctor said. Sarah responded instantly. So no improvement. No, a pause. Still classified as brain dead. Brain dead. That word again. Used like a final stamp. A permission slip. Hamza spoke quietly. Then proceed. I felt something inside me tighten. Not fear anymore. Something else. Focus. Sharp focus. I started trying again. Finger. Nothing. Again. Nothing. Again. Then, a twitch. Stronger this time. A nurse noticed. Wait. Sarah turned instantly. What? I think. Sarah cut her off immediately. He's not responsive. Continue. But the nurse didn't move. She stayed, watching. The doctor stepped closer. Let's recheck reflex response. Sarah's voice sharpened. There's no need for that. But it was too late. The doctor had already taken my hand. Apply stimulus, he said. And then it happened. My finger moved. Clearly. This time not accidental. Not faint. The room went silent. The nurse stepped back. I told you, Sarah froze. Just for a second. But I saw it. Fear. Hamza stepped forward. That's not possible. The doctor leaned closer. Repeat test. Another stimulus. This time, my hand moved again. Not a twitch. A reaction. The machine started beeping faster. Call neurology, the doctor said quickly. Everything changed instantly. The calm disappeared. The plan cracked. Sarah stepped forward aggressively. This is impossible. He was declared. Not anymore, the doctor interrupted. That word hit harder than anything before. Not anymore. Hamza looked at me. For the first time, he didn't look confident. He looked unsure. And then, I heard something I will never forget. The nurse whispered, "He's awake." Chaos. Phones ringing. Doctors rushing. Machines being checked. Orders shouted. And Sarah wasn't speaking anymore. She was watching me, just staring, like she was trying to understand what went wrong. Because, in her mind, this wasn't supposed to happen. I felt my fingers again. Stronger. Then my hand. Then my arm. The doctor leaned in. "Can you hear me?" I tried. It came out weak. Barely a sound, but enough. Yes. Everything stopped. The room froze. Hamza stepped back instantly, like the floor shifted under him. Sarah whispered, "That's not possible." But it was. And now, they knew. Time skip. Recovery phase, I don't remember everything clearly after that moment. It was chaos. Medical tests. Questions. Confusion. But one thing was certain. I wasn't brain dead. I never was. And slowly, I started recovering. But something inside me didn't return the same. Not fully, because now I knew everything. And I remembered everything they said. Every plan. Every word. Every moment they thought I wasn't there. Weeks later, I was discharged into recovery care. But I wasn't helpless anymore. I was pretending. Doctors thought I had partial memory loss. Sarah agreed with them. Hamza avoided me completely. But I was listening. Still. And more importantly, I had recordings. The nurse. The system logs. Audio capture from my wearable monitor. Everything they said when they thought I was gone. Everything. I contacted a lawyer, quietly. Then another. Then investigators. And I waited. The day of revelation, a private family meeting was arranged. Sarah said it was for closure. Hamza said it was for peace. My parents thought it was about my recovery. But I knew the truth. It was my stage. The room was full. Family. Relatives. Even a few hospital representatives. Sarah sat closest to me. Hamza across. Both calm. Both pretending. The doctor spoke first, explaining recovery. Confusion. Medical impossibility. Then Sarah spoke. Soft voice. Carefully chosen words. "I'm just glad he's alive." Hamza nodded. "Yes, we almost lost him." Silence. Then I stood up. Slowly. Carefully. The room noticed immediately. Sarah frowned. "What are you doing?" I didn't answer. I walked to the center. Pulled out my phone. Hamza shifted. "Sit down." I pressed play. And everything started. Their voices filled the room. "Sarah." Pull the plug. "He's already gone." Hamza, finally. Silence exploded in the room. People turned instantly. Sarah froze. Hamza went pale. "No, that's edited," Sarah started. But I pressed again. More recordings. Plans. Insurance. Timing. My death. Everything. The room broke. People stood up, shouting. Confusion. Shock. My father stepped back. My mother covered her mouth. Sarah tried to speak again, but no words came out. Hamza looked at me like he had never seen me before. And then security arrived, because I had already filed everything earlier. Quietly, legally, Sarah was escorted back. Hamza, too. Neither resisted, neither spoke, because there was nothing left to say. Aftermath, I didn't scream. I didn't celebrate. I just stood there, watching everything collapse around them. Not revenge and anger, just truth, finally exposed. Sarah lost everything legally. Hamza faced charges for conspiracy. The hospital investigation reopened everything. And me? I walked out of that room alone. For the first time in a long time. Not trapped, not silenced, just alive. And they finally understood one thing. I heard everything, even when they thought I was already gone.